Yes! Look, he's transforming! You have to look!
I don't want to.
It's awesome! Oh, God! Love it! You know, there's not many films that I dread watching or revisiting, to be completely honest. There's really a handful. There's The Exorcist, there's The Hills Have Eyes, the remake. For whatever reason, I could not watch that film more than once. And today's film that I'm going to talk about, The Fly. Believe it or not, I saw this film when I was a kid. 1986 is when this came out, so I was 9, 10 years old. My sister had it on VHS, and I remember seeing this film and just forever having some images scarred in my brain was a result of that showing. It really did mess me up, and seeing it from a kid to an adult, I really did get two different experiences. Now, I saw it recently, and I have some reactions to share with you throughout this retro review, but you know the routine, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and talk about some behind-the-scenes facts that you may not have known, talk about some deleted scenes, and overall my thoughts on The Fly. So without further ado, for this Halloween special, let's go ahead and talk about The Fly. Now, the whole process to get The Fly remade all started with a gentleman called Kip Omen. Because of the success of The Thing and the practical effects that were renowned and celebrated, he thought he'd go ahead and go with that same approach and remake The Fly. He hired Charles Edward Prong to write the script, and they both pitched the idea to 20th Century Fox. 20th Century Fox read the script and they said it's way too dark, we're not going to go with this approach, but we'll go ahead and distribute the film, but we're not going to finance it. You go find financing somewhere else, and you'll never believe who they got to finance the film.
The Lord Jehovah has given unto you these 15, 10 commandments.
Yes, Mel Brooks. Brooks Films is the people that paid for The Fly. Isn't that amazing? I did not know that. That's amazing stuff. And because of the heavy emphasis on body transformation, they went ahead and sought out director David Cronenberg, who is renowned for that type of style. For those who know who he is, he's done Videodrome and Scanners. Enough said. Now, with the writer in place, the director in place, the financing, the distribution in place, all that taken care of, they needed a star to carry the film. Who do they go with? Our national treasure, Mr. Jeff Goldblum. And you know one thing I observed? Jeff Goldblum, he plays the same character in every film. Going back to, what's that film? Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Fly, and Dr. Ian Malcolm, he plays the same character.
How can you say that about a man like Kibner?
I'm not saying it about a man like Kibner. I'm saying it about Kibner. He dashes one of these things off every 6 months. It takes me 6 months to write one line sometimes.
Inherently purging. It makes a man a king. From the moment I walked out of the pod, I felt like $1 million. You know, I think I am going to have cannoli after all. Waiter!
Before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it. Well,
I don't know if anybody's noticed that, but it's the same thing. I guess it's kind of like that Nick Cage formula where Nick Cage is Nick Cage in every film, but that's what we love. And of course, we all love Jeff Goldblum, but I just noticed that it's the same character. And now that they have the lead role cast, they needed a female actress, which they went ahead and got Geena Davis to play Veronica. And believe it or not, Jeff Goldblum and Geena Davis made 3 films together. Can you name them? I'll give you 3 seconds before I put them on the screen. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Earth Girls Are Easy. I remember that was a big film in 1991 or 89 when it came out. MTV was just advertising the hell out of it. Julie Brown was on there. Remember Julie Brown? Let's move on. And then there's her ex-boyfriend. They recently, I guess, just broke up, and he had a key to her apartment.
Unconsciously, you still want me to come back? Move in again.
Yeah, you tell her.
That's because very consciously.
She forgot to tell him, but we stopped talking.
Yeah.
You have to give me the key back.
Yeah. She knows what's up.
Playmate's an interesting guy.
What playmate?
She did it on purpose.
You know you want it.
Yeah?
And there's still that disconnect that hasn't really taken place yet. He's still really possessive of her, definitely has feelings, and ends up being the hero at the end.
Don't you get it? I am finally onto something that's big.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah? What? His cock?
Okay.
Very
I don't remember that part.
So again, it's a very unconventional dynamic and framework for a film. There's a lot of emotional weight in these relationships that you really normally wouldn't expect or have seen in other films. So, bravo. Woo! In my research of the film, it's mentioned that Jeff Goldblum said numerous times that the makeup was really wearing down his body, especially around his face. It would often make him go to sleep because the eye makeup was so heavy around his face, which I can only imagine. But it was the in-depth process. Numerous stages of makeup were applied to just chronicleize the transformation of this man, which, again, because of my recent viewing of this film, the practical effects hold up, and I wish Hollywood would go back to practical effects and just throw the CGI alone. Use a little bit of CGI, not too much, but my God, the practical effects on here are amazing. They hold up. It's 40 years old and it holds up.
I do.
Oh.
Gory
Look at
stuff,
he's
I
got
just
puss,
don't
he's got puss. Oh, God. You're not looking?
I want.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I told you I could take gory, like blood, guts, like, you know, but like people guts. I don't want to do animal guts. That's the sound. You know how I am about sounds. That's so gross.
A lot of moviegoers love the practical effects, and there's a story that one of the producers went to see the film with the actual makeup artist, Mr. Chris Wallace. I hope I'm saying that right. And when the people stood up at the end of the film, when they saw his name, The Fly, created and designed by Chris Wallace, people applauded. And one of the producers told the makeup guy, your team's going to win an Oscar this year. You just watch. And as a matter of fact, they did. They won the 1986 Academy Award for Best Makeup in the Film.
Chris Wallace and Stephen Dubois for The Fly.
Well deserved.
Our next film is number 10 on my list, David Cronenberg's The Fly, a horror film, and that's a rarity to find on a 10 best list, because 10 best lists usually are filled with more noble pictures, but there was, if you think about it, a certain nobility to The Fly, the nobility of an inquisitive scientist experimenting with moving massive particles of matter, like a human body, from one place to another. That's Geena Davis as his girlfriend, and she and Goldblum, despite his disgusting makeup, develop a genuine love affair on screen. The movie is beautifully made without passing into what I call the gross-out category, and so what we get from The Fly is both a great adventure and a fine love story.
Now, it's been documented when the film was released that many people left the theater because they were ill and just got sick to their stomach, and some people even vomited in the theater. True story. Now, believe it or not, a lot of critics said it was a powerful film and that they just celebrated the practical effects, but a lot of them saw the film as a metaphor for AIDS. And a lot of critics saw the AIDS story within the film, The Fly. Now, that wasn't the filmmaker's intentions, but that was just the narrative that a lot of people saw because of what was going on in the nation. Now, there's a story around the internet that Jeff Goldblum actually wrote a letter to Vincent Price, who starred in the original 1958 film, The Fly. In the letter, it said that Jeff Goldblum mentioned that Mr. Vincent Price, we love the original Fly and we paid honor to it. I hope you enjoyed our work as much as we loved yours. And the story goes that Vincent Price wrote a letter, says, your film was great, but it went too far in some places and I couldn't watch it. I bet you didn't know that. And they also honored the original film with the Help Me scene. We all know the Help Me scene in the 1958 film. And here it is in 1986.
Help me. Please. Please help me.
Don't touch me. Don't look at me, just shoot me.
Also, the swirling colors at the beginning of the main title sequence, that is actually a representation of what biologists, what they believe a human would see with a fly's vision. The vomit that Jeff Goldblum's character uses to this, I gotta start over. The vomit that Jeff Goldblum's character that he uses to dissolve his food. It's disgusting, I know, but it's actually made of milk, honey, and eggs. I bet you didn't know that. And that takes us to the deleted scenes. There's 2 deleted scenes that I was never aware of this whole time, and they're on YouTube, and you can check them out for yourself. One is when Jeff Goldblum's character vomits at honey, milk, and eggs on Stannis, on his leg. There's a scene where he picks up the foot and he tries to eat it with a fly tongue. Now, shown here, it looks very fake and it really didn't play well with test audiences, so they chose to remove it. And the other scene is Jeff Goldblum in the later stages of his transformation trying to figure out a way to survive, and what he does is he's experimenting with the baboon that survived earlier in one pot and a cat. Yes, a cat in another. What he's trying to do is splice them and unsplice them, and when he splices them together, as you can imagine, it's a very horrific scene. And he beats the thing to death with a pipe, so as you can imagine, audiences do not like seeing a cat and a baboon screaming in pain being beaten to death. God, the 80s, I love it so much. You couldn't do that nowadays. You can't. Now, ladies and gentlemen, does The Fly hold up? Abso-effing-lutely it does. It's amazing how a film made in 1986, the special effects in this film are better than some of the films that have come out in the past 5 years. CGI, I think, has spoiled a lot of filmmakers in doing a lot of crazy things, but really cheating the audience, because with the practical effects, there's a tangible texture to it. And the actors are actually reacting to what's happening in front of them. That whole sequence at the end where the Jeff Goldblum's skin is just falling off and the final transformation version of the Fly is revealed to her, that's her really acting to it. And bravo for Geena Davis for giving an amazing performance. She's giving it her all. So when you consider the practical effects, the story, the unique story with the framework that I mentioned earlier, and the acting, it's a powerful film. And as I mentioned earlier, seeing it as a kid, it terrified me, but seeing it as an adult, I really had a lot of pity for Jeff Goldblum's character, Seth Brundle. He was just a guy who just discovered a way to teleport items left and right, and he became a victim of science. There's a huge metaphor, I'm sure, that exists there, but just the character at the end where he's just like, he gives up, he gets a shotgun, and just, it's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking. And then the film fades to black to Geena Davis's weeps, and oh my god, and it just, credits! It's a powerful experience, and it's really not for everybody. Again, as I mentioned, it's one of those films I really can't revisit too often, but I do own it, and I highly suggest you check it out or buy it, because if you're a horror fan, it's an absolute must-buy. And as always, everybody, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my Halloween special. If you like what I'm doing, hit the like button and the subscribe button. Leave some comments below. That tells me and YouTube and the algorithm, all that crap, that you like what I'm doing. It would mean a lot to me if I earned your subscription today. It really would. But again, happy Halloween, everybody, and...
After killing his family, the father hung himself with a garden hose they had in the garage. Don't touch that dial now, we're just getting started. 204863. 204863. Of a wife and her 2 children by their husband and father. The father purchased the rifle used in the crime at his local gun store 2 days earlier. This brutal killing took place while the family was gathered at home on a Sunday afternoon. The day of the crime, the father went to the trunk of his car, retrieved the rifle, and shot his wife as she was cleaning up the kitchen after lunch. When his 10-year-old son came to investigate the commotion, the father shot him too. His 6-year-old daughter had the good sense to hide in the bathroom, but reports suggest he lured her out by telling her it was just a game. The girl was found shot once in the chest from point-blank range. The mother... Look behind you. I said, look behind you.
Hey, what's the problem? Come on, let's go to bed.
Slut dina ögon. Låt dina öron lyssna till radio. Hör du min röst? Kan du höra din egen själs skrik? Låt oss välja. Min röst som förtäljer framtiden eller dina plågade rop.